Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's Fiber Broadband Association webinar. My name is David Norris. I'm the webinar producer here at FBA. Today's webinar is Seamlessly Migrate Your PON Network, Driving Openness and Maximizing Cost Efficiency. And this is being brought to us today by Power Tel in partnership with Radisys. Before we begin, I just have a couple quick housekeeping items to go through. So as attendees today, you are in listen-only mode. However, we want to keep this interactive and conversational, and you can certainly ask your questions, and we'd love to address those throughout the presentation and during Q&A at the end. You can ask those questions by typing them into the Ask a Question tool, which is located in the lower left-hand side of your screen, directly below our cameras here. This will be available on demand, and that's usually on our website within 24 to 48 hours. You can find that under the Events tab on the FBA website. That's fiberbroadband.org. The link for that will also be included in a follow-up email, as well as some resources. And speaking of resources, we do have quite a few resources for you, some additional information that you can take with you from today's presentation. You can find that in the resources tool, which is located in the upper right-hand side of your screen. You'll see that there's a couple of PDF overviews on ONTs and OLTs, as well as links to various forums and other articles that will be referenced during the presentation. So be sure to check those out. Again, that's in the resources tool in the upper right-hand side, and to ask questions, use the tool in the lower left-hand side. And with that, let's jump right in and introduce our panelists today. So today, we're pleased to be joined by Gus Vasilakis, who is with Power Tel. He is the Vice President for Canadian Sales and Global Business Development. And he is joined today by Eric Wolfsberg from Radisys, who is a Senior Director and Product Management with Radisys. Eric is a key member of the Radisys product management team, supporting the development of robust portfolio of optical network units, ONTs and ONUs, and their global market introduction. He has over 2 decades of experience in optical engineering, product management, cellular technology product management, and IoT platform management at organizations including Calix, DZS, DTN, all before joining Radisys. Eric has a bachelor's degree in physics and mathematics from Luther College and a master's degree in electronics and communications engineering, optical communications from the University of Colorado at Boulder. Gus serves as the Vice President for Canadian Sales and Global Business Management at Power Tel, as I mentioned. He has decades of experience in broadband technologies, and Gus leads initiatives across Canada and the global markets, driving strategic growth through partnerships, interoperability, and distribution of open architecture network solutions. Gus collaborates closely with OEM partners and customers to deliver multi-vendor interoperable solutions that maximize flexibility and cost efficiency across the broadband ecosystem, and frequently shares his expertise with industry associations, discussing evolving telecom trends and channel strategies. So with that, welcome, gentlemen. I want to get out of your way. We're eager to hear the conversation, and I will go ahead and hand things over to Gus. So Gus, feel free to take it away.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, David. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Eric, I think you're up first.
I want to thank the Fiber Broadband Association for allowing us to speak. It's always good to talk about all the different applications, both with fiber to the home and for wireless. Yeah, David, you had mentioned I've been in the industry for probably over 25 years. What I've enjoyed about working at Radisys is that, well, I started in fixed wireless. Back then it was single channel DOCSIS over the air. I worked in distributed antenna systems, so I think at the advent of 3G with CDMA and GSM, and then of course moving into to fiber home technologies, as you noted, with the different companies. So some 20 years of actual fiber experience. I always say, people know me, there's a lot of wires behind wireless. So my time here at Radisys, there's a lot of opportunity here, and we're driving innovation, and it's very interesting to be a part of this, with obviously our activities in 5G core, in fixed wireless access, as well as fiber to the home. So again, I want to thank you and everyone attending this session.
Okay, great. So that complements where we are from a technology perspective. And at Power Tel, I'm most proud of the achievements as we build out the electronics portfolio. Power Tel has decades of history associated to outside plant and doing things to enable fiber and copper infrastructure. We've gotten into wireless, and broadband infrastructures, fixed mobile wireless and different technologies now, in addition to adding an illustrious array of brands and products to our offer, including Radisys. And we're really pleased to be here today and that you all have joined us. David, thank you for kicking us off and going over our background. As we begin looking, I just want to say that the journey to Radisys, where we started 2 years ago as a stocking distributor, has really grown to the point now where Radisys is able to offer 5G core and getting much more well known in this market space. Media applications over wireless are things that are emerging and very successful for the company. Satellite infrastructure, fixed mobile wireless, with the addition of Mimosa, which we've picked up as a brand. Data center connectivity are things that we also believe in, that we see Radisys playing a role in. And today, of course, we're going to talk about PON, XGS PON, and if time permits, a little bit about AI. And as we said, we put some resources up for you to be able to download during this webinar to hear things more about these solution set. So, Eric, let's start here. And where has Radisys product series really evolved?
I like this this slide because it kind of makes it more relatable. The fact that you're looking at all the different communication infrastructure, all the different areas of coverage. Of course, a lot of our company is built on serving the wireless operators. Obviously, we're a subsidiary of Reliance Industries, which has holdings with Geo, and Geo being one of the largest cellular operators today in the world. So you're just seeing all the different applications, of course, in different urban areas. Key with fixed wireless access is that kind of a use of a UBR, unlicensed band frequencies, and licensed band frequencies to both provide point-to-point connectivity, to provide backhaul activity. As we noted, 5G core. So a lot of the we're both a provider as well as an ODM of some of our technologies and integrated into other partner products. If you're looking at different coverage solutions, fiber is very key. As I noted, there's a lot of wires behind wireless. There's a lot of fiber behind wireless today. So that infrastructure that we're helping to provide, the ability to co-locate different wired access and wireless assets. And also what we do is we're helping to, besides kind of media processing, audio, video processing, different tools that are AI-based to help customer service representatives or helping people who have audio disadvantages. It's just, there's many different areas of opportunities that Radisys has touched on. And I like on the far left, in the world of rural communications, difficult areas to serve, you do have that wireless access. You're going to have satellite and 5G on low Earth orbiting satellites, as well as IoT applications. And one of my jobs at one point was actually working in IoT, precision farming, weather, geofencing. These are all ways to really help optimize our production of food, of production of in industries. And really it's about connecting people, connecting rural environments, enabling education, medical health care, financial transactions. So I really enjoy this slide. And if you don't want to advance the slide to Gus to the next, just a little bit about who again we are. We're part of Reliance Industry Limited. We just some recent facts by the chairman of Reliance that they're currently serving 498 million subscribers in India. 200 million of those are now on 5G, transition from 4G to 5G. And one interesting thing, as you see here with Mimosa, we're our partners with Mimosa in this consortium. 7.4 million recently announced are now being served by fixed wireless. So that's a combination of both 5G as well as UBR type connectivity. So Mimosa is a technology leader in the wireless space with fixed wireless access as well as backhaul services, fiber-like speed. So So Radisys' role is to really help on the technology innovation for Geo, and they all feeds into, again, connecting people and enabling new services.
Great. So as we continue today's conversation, and I'm sure we already have a question queued up about BEAD and what role we play in BEAD. If time permits, we can talk about that. No one has a crystal ball, right? But we do know this trend, the business issue, where there's high demand on the vendor reliance and what is being selected. The capital is very tightly managed, and yet they need to be efficient platforms. They need to be scalable platforms. Let's talk a little bit how Radisys fills in the gaps.
Yeah, so Gus, it's always been kind of that, and we're very much a champions of disaggregated solutions, of allowing service providers, vendors to have a open architecture. When you look at some of that issues that we have, vendor reliance, it's really being locked in to a certain vendor, of not being able to kind of have different options or different ways of actually deploying your equipment. Also, when we look at the transition, we're seeing a lot of capital investments. People are acquiring different properties, and now you have many different vendors in there. So the issue of a kind of a vendor reliance and many different vendors is becoming very kind of difficult, and this helps really drive some of that capital and operational expense, having to manage multiple equipment, different asset technologies, again, through acquisition, maybe many different vendors within your network. So it really limits the kind of the agility to scale your operations. You're always having to work on the next kind of phase of how to integrate property XYZ. Just a case, there was a recent acquisition of a traditional PON operator, and they acquired a whole network of point-to-point systems, as I'm familiar with. So it's just that, again, different technologies, different access abilities. You're seeing again a lot of investment where people are having both wireless and wireline infrastructure. They just want to be able to control, manage different systems, and a lot of that innovation, you're going to start to see network fiber operators or NFOs who are trying to manage multiple access technologies, multiple ISPs, and do you have the open architecture to be able to support all those different technologies?
So there's been, I guess, several people who know me well have accused me of, they ask me what time it is, right? And then I describe how a watch is being built. And I think we're both engineers. So how do we ensure that this is manageable by our customer base, both the large service providers and the rural and smaller providers? Let's talk about simplicity for a moment.
Yeah, I guess I was all of a sudden realizing it does say KISS, so I guess we are talking about KISS. So from a Radisys perspective, we've had a lot of investment over the last couple of years to really help that ease of installation. Different ways to actually manage the product. Because if you look at scalability, while we service some very large tier 1 operators globally, when you get down to very small operators and some of the opportunities within the US market, the smaller telcos, it's really about ease of installation. If you're going into optical LAN applications or campus applications, using PON with an MDU, you really want to have simple processes of managing. You also want to be able to insert yourself into different networks. So that open interoperability of whether it's an ONT to an OLT or OLT to an ONT, legacy brownfield networks, overlaying yourselves with newer technologies. So some things we also do is kind of on that simplified subscriber provisioning, ability to have a one-click service provisioning, and really a single view of all the services that are available to that subscriber. One innovation that we've been working with is zero-touch installation. Now, what is that? Well, Broadband Forum does talk about ZTP and ZTI. In this case here, we can actually service the OLT, service the upgrade with a simple USB stick and automatically upgrade the unit. We can also do it through DHCP options, where we can actually quickly install off a repo server, quickly, a one-click zero installation of an upgrade to an OLT. So very simple things have done to help make it easy for either IT-centric personnel, people who are on site working with that, command line interface, web GUI, command line. Hey, this, why would you have that on a full managed system, Gus? But there are some applications. People are command line centric. To have a Cisco command line, advanced command line system, a web GUI to help with status, an RMS. As you migrate and grow, and we can talk about in the future slides here, this RMS can manage 4,000 OLTs. So very large scale systems today deployed, again, globally.
Great. So we grabbed an example that we wanted to talk through today and be able to look at. Let's talk through, what a typical installation could look like as somebody gets started with Radisys.
So, it's often just the homes passed. It's a new community. It's a municipality build. It could be a greenfield, brownfield. So, the number of homes passed, a single OLT serving, a large number of users, up to 2,000 users. Of course, you may insert yourself into a GPON network. From a SKU-wise, we actually have GPON because a large part of the world is still GPON being deployed, thousands of ports. But of course, mostly what we do today is combo PON in the US. So again, insertion point into a brownfield network with existing GPON ONTs, taking on those ONTs into our system, deploying an overlay of XGS-PON, of course, up to 256 ONTs per interface. So that combo PON technology is kind of key to help really transition the network as we go to 10 gig services. Of course, Radisys itself, we have ONTs on GPON 2.5 gig ports, 10 gig ports. That seems to be kind of baseline technology, Gus, today. And of course, Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7. A lot of argument. Is it a one-box solution, all integrated with Wi-Fi? Is it a two-box solution, all with Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7? And Gus, the serious concerns: is it a white box? Is it a black box? Or should we do silver boxes? So intelligent design is always kind of a fun part of doing ONTs over time. But key for us is also we work with a number of different ONTs. Again, a list of different. We have over probably 110 different ONTs integrated in with our system. Our support groups, our product development teams are able to interface. It's really driven by large operators who have their own service models, their own customization. So we have to be very flexible. We don't key. We don't prevent any ONT. We really help operators be successful by migrating their legacy products with newer technologies. And again, your Wi-Fi could be external, the two-box solution, integrating with different vendor technologies, including Calix and Adtran and Plume devices. So, but one of the keys is that you need to have support. Radisys does a very good job, for providing consultation on-premise, cloud-native solutions that are easily integrated, open interfaces, and again, that kind of idea of openness. Service and training, customer service support, and really just helping people integrate. We have different customer types, people who want to be command line, very small operators using command line to even manage some of the Wi-Fi options within the home, different OSS, BSS systems that you have to integrate into. So having all those open interfaces, REST APIs really helps many operators quickly evolve and support our applications.
Okay, so we high level on the product and the topology, the services and everything to get supported. Let's take a little bit closer dive for a moment and let's look at one of the OLTs and what are the feature sets of the Radisys OLT.
It's kind of like you say, simplicity. We talked about this, and I've kind of touched on a few of these items. Sometimes you kind of realize that a chassis can be very large, can be kind of different management cards, interface cards. Having a scalable solution that's chassis based, or sorry, I'll call it pizza box, but a single box solution, either as a 16 port or a 32 port, really allows kind of operators to scale. Again, it can service a large number of homes passed. Every interface is auto-detect any port, any service type. You could have GPON dedicated optics. You could have combo PON, XGS PON dedicated optics. One key is that because we do service GEO in India, these are temperature hardened units. They can be horizontal, they can be vertical. And you can see how co-location within like a wireless infrastructure, a wireless hut, this becomes a point of demarcation for the wired fiber infrastructure as well. We also then plug into an MDU environment where you may just have a 1RU box servicing that MDU. So it's really just that flexibility. It's kind of again, simplicity in SKUs. There are not too many permutations. Everything is integrated. Everything can combine. But again, the architecture inside, which we'll cover in a few slides, is very flexible. It's open architecture. It's cloud native software.
Great. Well, speaking of the open architecture, we have the first slide on this, the RMS platform.
Yeah. So let me touch on this. So again, when we talk about kind of like cloud native, you're talking about kind of microservices, ability to do active upgrades, without being service impacting. So really the architecture was built on Volta, virtual OLT hardware abstraction. And we integrate this into the OLT, but you can disaggregate. You can have the different software in a centralized location. You can have multiple OLTs being managed by this architecture. So, there is the service plane. There's a control plane managing the OLT itself, the OMCI, the interactions and such. You've got a management plane above that. So you've got the kind of an SDN controller optimizing kind of the management of that. And then northbound, you were able to have these kind of open APIs, REST APIs that can tie into the Radisys management system. It can tie into a third-party management system, and then also tie into different OSS and BSS platforms. So really, it's that architecture is micro-container approach. It's highly programmable. It allows you to kind of innovate over time, having open interfaces. We're really kind of agnostic on the technology. While we do work in the space of cloud CO and software-defined networks and orchestration with our connected modular broadband platform, which is an OSS BSS, we're open to different platforms. And so just all that kind of, again, openness, disaggregated solutions, the ability to abstract the management really, again, adds a lot of efficiencies to how we can deploy the equipment.
Okay, great. We've included this little caption on the CLI because when you mention, cloud-based infrastructures, container-based infrastructures, and things like that, often it becomes very complex, and it doesn't then feel like a piece of networking equipment, right? Let's talk a little bit about how Radisys has continued with the CLI to allow network managers and network operators feel comfortable at a console port into a single device.
Exactly, Gus. You have very IT-centric personnel. You may be in the lab, you may be on site. A lot of people still like traditional command line interfaces. So we have a kind of modern command line, Cisco-like interface. And here you have the full ability to do configuration of the systems, both the OLT, obviously ONT activation and related, all the capabilities of monitoring. You got statistics, you're looking at status, you're able to look at live traffic and here, and then tools within the command line interface for troubleshooting. Be able to look at PLOM statistics, looking at OMCI messaging, the exchange between the OLT and the ONT. So it just gives that to that IT-centric person. It's easy to deploy. It can be done on site if you're, again, on an MDU location, in a enterprise environment, doing optical LAN. They may want to do this, have scripts to be able to activate all the systems and never actually use a GUI or use an RMS Everything can be done independently. And, they're just for small scale networks and individual campus buildings. This is a way that people like to actually provision your system.
Well, that's, and I think that was a key point for us to stop on. There is now the GUI base, right? Of course, we almost every company, is now offering a GUI with its integration. We'll talk a little bit about where Radisys is right now with this platform.
Right. So we've always focused on RMS, an element management system. Again, we were looking at very large scale networks and 4,000 OLTs, as I mentioned earlier. But again, it comes down to you're on site. You want to know what the status is. Versus going into a command line. Here now you have kind of more of a graphical interface to actually see port activity. You can see historical diagrams. You can run reports from this. So it is more of a kind of a ability to monitor and see activity, do some basic troubleshooting prior to going into maybe command line for a deep dive. But you can really see it in a very simplified fashion, your configuration of your network, again, graphically. And it's just maybe not used for full provisioning and such, but it really is a quick and easy way to get status, to see reports, and understand what's going on in your network very quickly.
That's excellent. So one of the things we did, Eric, is we put together this talk for today. We sort of skipped the whole section of ONTs, right? There's so many edge devices and such, and we talked about how Radisys has interoperability and a full product complement of your own. Let's do a recap on the OLT and the RMS capabilities before we get into some of the solutions, right? And how these products are applied and what we see customers using them for.
So it's really kind of again, this idea of simplicity, keep it simple. Again, taking product or features that have been at large scale for kind of very large operators, and ability to scale that down. So the OLTs are layer 3 capable. We use that today for, again, maybe a static configuration, dynamic routing configurations. You can, on the layer 2 side, have lag or ERPS, but you can also stack these units as independent layer 3 routing. So the ways of the flexibility of actually architecting the network with layer 3 capabilities is very powerful. But again, most operators will just operate as a layer 2 device. Again, that scalable idea, you can start small, you can do command line, and then you can absorb this with an RMS, and the RMS doesn't require any resync. The RMS can be introduced at any point in the time, at any point in the network, to actually start to manage all the products without having to reconfigure the system. Again, standalone systems here, again, having flexibility. And then just that third-party interrupt is kind of key. Open interfaces, open ONTs, the way that Volta is designed to have that kind of an agent for open ONT management. And again, it's the services, it's the support to help enable those third-party ONTs onto our platform. So again, that insertion point of combo PON, help absorb some of the legacy GPON networks, and then allow customers to move to XGS PON as well.
Okay, great. So we promised a few solutions. Let's start with MDUs, and this is a rising popularity of mixed communities, and single-family homes, townhomes, condominiums, small businesses are that new growth cluster that's popping up across America. Let's talk about the MDU strategy for Radisys.
Well, we're here at a Fiber Broadband Association, so everything's fiber. And yes, fiber to the home has been servicing single-family, multi-dwelling, townhomes and related. What we're seeing now, kind of again, covering every living unit, every building, MDUs with fiber. And again, it can be a single box solution, all-in-one, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, having different interfaces available to the subscriber for direct connection for the gamers. But it's really that application. This is nothing new. It's just more of the flexibility. One thing that we've been doing is adding more intelligence to the edge. So you may have a demarcation point, a fiber. You may have different Wi-Fi options, that you're offering to the subscriber. You still have enough intelligence at the ONT side to do speed tests, to have other security features on that. This is done through OpenWRT. So it gives you a kind of a strategy where you can have all your intelligence, even though it's a single demarcation point, and then still feed different Wi-Fi options.
Okay, great. We talked a little bit about Wi-Fi, and maybe one of the things that we'll touch on in this is how Radisys is now moving even into the Wi-Fi controller, right? And some of the things that are really helping grow and expand these optical networks.
Yeah, I mean, key, and our partner, of course, with Geo is, they're focusing on both small business, enterprise business as well. So our work with enterprise is both for fiber, having ONTs with power over Ethernet, hardened units that can be in different parts of a building. But then you're feeding a enterprise-grade Wi-Fi. You can't, service an enterprise environment with roaming, with captive portals, radius authentication, with a residential type ONT. So we're proponents of open Wi-Fi. We have open Wi-Fi based access points and an open Wi-Fi based Wi-Fi controller. And part of this is that while we're servicing the building with fiber, feeding again maybe small cells, maybe again these access points, using fiber. It's really about again connecting and allowing kind of scalable solutions, that can be quickly managed. So again, that open Wi-Fi standard allows different manufacturers to participate in the access point technology. It's an open standard. So we really see this kind of growth area within this. It also can apply to community Wi-Fi, outdoor Wi-Fi. And again, Radisys, in our support of both Mimosa and Geo, we service a lot of underserved areas that are still using community Wi-Fi to have that initial engagement with customers. And having a full managed solution, including activation and pay cards and payment gateways, so that people can easily access services, either medical services or school services. So that open Wi-Fi based architecture is really beneficial in this kind of environment for optical LAN.
Okay, many of our service provider customers, municipal broadband, rural broadband, co-ops and such, integrate into the cellular infrastructure and the utility management infrastructure. Radisys has examples of this as well in the portfolio. We thought we would talk a little bit here about cellular backhaul and how this is a positioning for PON networks.
So of course we have wireless in our DNA. So we're obviously helpful in or developing 5G core and in the 5G space. But what we see is a lot of the kind of co-location of wireline, of wireless, of having an ONT integrated into the radio side, having backhaul transport of PON into a system. Of course, now a lot of cell towers and large cell towers are being served by 25 gig or 40 gig optical fiber. But for many distributed systems, you're still using PON technologies to get 10 gig to the tower site. You may actually locate, again, the OLT at the tower site, or you can have a point-to-point or point-to-multipoint backhaul system feeding maybe an MDU, and then having the OLT inside the building, or again, an enterprise application where you're actually feeding this over a wireless. So ability to kind of have that coexistence of fixed wireless access, of both 5G fixed wireless access and UBR, and then having different placements of the actual OLT. Again, an underserved area over a river crossing where it may be hard to get the fiber over. You may have a backhaul link and then service that small community with a OLT in a hut. So again, a lot of advantages, and then having, of course, pluggable ONTs, both on GPON side, XGS-PON, to really integrate into those radio systems. So we see a lot of this in India. We're seeing very large scale deployments, and again, an interchange between wireline and wireless, lots of wires behind the wireless communications.
Yeah, great. So one of the last, I guess, things we were going to talk about today and we mentioned it early on, is a little bit about the AI capabilities, and where Radisys is starting to make investments and deployments. You know, we see a lot of customers with interest. We see people that maybe put it into their requirements in future. A lot of things are geared towards the rapid deployment of infrastructure, and then the automation and the control of infrastructure. But where's Radisys in the AI spectrum in the coming months?
So what's interesting for us is that we have major investors within Reliance, within Geo, So, and of course, there's very large scale, data centers. There's AI infrastructure being built, but from a practical side, from a service provider perspective, a lot of it is the data. You will start to have kind of and we're seeing, if you have anybody attended the Fiber Connect trade show, I did present this with the Broadband Forum. It's really kind of the whys. What are people interested in doing with AI from a service provider perspective? What are some of the limitations of how we can do that? What are the risks, of course? A lot of people are starting kind of just with the internal tools of AI, whether it's a customer service call-in center, whether it's kind of using the initial data collection, making inferences, analytics, to actually determine or proactively determine that there may be an issue or the areas of congestion. A lot of the planning tools around maybe GIS, maybe incorporating different data sources together, say like our ArcGIS. And one thing we should note is that, Geo is very active with ArcGIS, Esri. There's some case studies. If you go to the Esri website, some of the case studies around planning of your network for wireless planning. It's a very interesting, applications using GIS technology. We're also seeing GIS technology being used by some of our NFOs, where, of course, it's integration of a open system where you're managing wireless access, fixed wireless access, as well as fiber to the home applications, all through a common system, and having GIS, help in the planning, the work orders. All that data is available, and then how you roll that in with all your management systems, your actual access technologies, whether again it's copper or fiber. So on the CapEx side, it's really helping carriers create those kind of tools, financial tools, helping on the design, knowing the decision points of where to build, when to build, knowing where your inventory is, again, prediction of the actual network. So it really helps on the capital side. You can have we talk about digital twin. You can do scenario playing. You can, look at your network, the plan of your network, and then maybe do a digital twin to kind of like see how the impact of certain changes or a change of a route or the capacity increase may impact your network. So those tools are available. On the Apex side, of course, you start to look at, again, from a sales opportunity, all this information is available. There's huge amounts of data, and again, they may be coming from different sources. AI helps kind of normalize all this, able to pull in dissimilar data from different sources, and then using that to kind of make, again, inferences, understanding the plans here. So again, optimization may be an idea, security, in terms of what is happening in the network, or, predicting based on traffic patterns. There may be a security issue. We talk about sustainability, how to optimize and cost reduce and lower the cost of utilization. Can you move capacity from one port to another? Can you shut down certain assets so they can save on power? There's diurnal changes. The way we know the wireless industry, plans on their network with daily changes in capacity. So how can you reroute that capacity? How can you do different things? So AI can be used in that. And then really, again, having open infrastructure interfaces, again, allows it kind of that idea of cloud native of design and of such. We ourselves at Radisys, we're using it for design purposes. Our product development teams do use AI for some of the scripting around command line or other tools. We also have tools around just customer service support. And as we talk about kind of our Engage platform, we are offering, again, customer service agents, automatic translation services. If there's a caller coming in that speaks a different language, to instantly detect that language and be able to convert the conversation into that something that somebody can understand. Using AI, using generative AI tools, you can actually provide different media mixing capabilities to actually change the language in real time, so that people can relate and be better engaged with their whatever issue that they may have. So there's just a lot of interesting things, and what the service providers are going to have to weigh is that cost benefit, that risk benefit. Yeah. And as you look futures, you're looking at automation of the network, both on the wireline side and the wireless side. That's why there are some links attached to this. What is occurring in the 3GPP world? What is some of the other studies are for how to utilize AI technologies. So Radisys is very invested in this. Geo is very invested in this, of course, from some of our people who are invested within the company itself. So you're going to see some interesting things coming through over time.
Awesome. Well, I think that so we did a pretty good job. We explained the platforms, the positioning. We did some solution and talked a little bit about futures. I think there are some questions. So David, we may switch back to you if there's any questions that came in during the conversation, and as time permits, we'll answer them.
Yes, and we do have some questions coming in. If you haven't gotten your questions in yet, you can use that questions tool to type them in, and we will get to those as well. So just to kick things off, someone's asking, does Radisys have an example in North America of customers leveraging PON and wireless technologies?
Sorry, Gus, I'll take that. So yeah, no, we do. And what is interesting is that, again, some of the requirements, are, you're starting to look at some of the municipalities, some of the altered technologies, or maybe, again, looking at how can I coverage area with wireless and wireline. And so we have some very large customers who are taking that approach with a common OSS, BSS management system. And again, I mentioned a GIS system as well, that they can overlay a fiber build, look at the areas that, as they build out the fiber and build out the network, these are the endpoints that get connected, the homes passed, but then also overlay that with maybe a fixed wireless access network. And looking at, here's the coverage, here is the pole sites that may have the fiber to those pole sites already providing backhaul. So they can kind of continue to build their network in a very logical way. So using that kind of common management system, creating work orders, it can be assigned to the wireless team, it can be assigned to the wireline team, different ISPs, as a network fiber operator. The idea is kind of open access, using the kind of open access technology that we offer. There may be different OMT types being deployed by different ISPs. So really, again, that pure open access is almost kind of becoming a criteria with some municipality builds, where they're expecting that multiple ISPs can be operating that network. A single operator may be managing both a wireline and wireless network. And then they're getting maybe multiple technologies involved in that area that they're helping to manage.
So that's be for you. How does Power Tel? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, David. You kind of broke up there, but I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry about that. So the next question is for Gus. It's how does Power Tel see the BEAD program rolling out for the FBA members?
Sure. Well, I think no one has a master crystal ball, but we are seeing, as many of the states and the BEAD information is being released in the bid proposal area, that there's an increasing percentage. It's still a small percentage, but there could be some low orbit satellite solutions included, and the usage of fixed mobile wireless as a method. And this is where Power Tel, my team and I have been really focused on building out our portfolio with Radisys, with Adtran and Sienna and Juniper Networks and Fujitsu, now Onefinity. These solutions all come together in different aspects to allow us to put together a solution for a customer to meet the needs of BEAD. And where maybe the first round of proposal was very heavily optical, and now these proposals seem to be a blend of optical, fixed wireless, and satellite, for which we're expanding our portfolio to address this.
Great. Let's see, going on. Eric, how does Radisys help operators manage through a single pane of glass when multi-vendors are in the network?
Well, David, we're participants. A little background: we're participants within the Broadband Forum, and there are initiatives around Cloud CO. So Cloud CO, the premise is that you have different ASIC technologies, you have different vendors, open interfaces, and so you're looking at kind of a way to abstract the management layer and manage many different technologies. Different, again, it could be fiber, it could be wireless, it could be copper as well. So our participation in that, our work with Deutsche Telekom, with Access 4.0, is just kind of that. You've got many different OLT manufacturers servicing the network. You can combine that together to kind of get a kind of a single pane of glass management capabilities. Again, we're helping on that kind of open REST API interfaces northbound of our own platforms to be tied into different orchestrators. And again, we have our own orchestrator, OSS BSS system, software-defined networks. And so just our participation in the Broadband Forum, we are on some of those leadership committees, is really kind of setting the groundwork for that kind of more holistic network management capabilities. And then helping others who are, again, these OSS BSS systems, they may be a network fiber operator servicing multiple ISPs, again, maybe some different technologies. I just see a lot of promise in of course, with AI, you're able to maybe help on that translation between different platforms, different access technologies, the different vendors, and getting to more of a common view. I don't know if we'll ever get there. There's still going to be a swivel chair in the NOC, but you can get down to more of a kind of a single view, both within the home with a common ACS or multiple ACSs into the into the core with different access technologies. So,
kind of related to that. Somebody else has asked, what role can Radisys play for network operators? I guess they're asking who are consolidating or merging their networks.
Well, we kind of touched on the services side of what we do. So we can again in that scenario of integration and support. We help in the OT interoperability, again, with many of the larger operators who already have existing products or a brownfield network with an insertion point of legacy products that they need to pull into a different OLT. So really the services side, our product development teams can scale up and support that. We ourselves support Geo with some of the application development, around this kind of the service creation. You're seeing a lot of, again, I mentioned school and education and medical and again, business service types things. There's just a lot of content being generated, a lot of applications. And so we have the resources to help in that development. We have the know-how for, again, OpenWRT development or for CPE side or other applications. So that's kind of how we play our role. We're very much a consultative group. We do ODMs with the 5G core, so we service many of the large infrastructure providers. So our capabilities are pretty broad.
Great. And kind of along similar lines here, Gus, someone has asked, is Power Tel positioned to help consulting engineering firms position open architecture platforms? So is Power Tel positioned to help consulting engineering firms? Go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely we are. One of the things that I think Power Tel's known for in the industry is working with tier 1 or world-class companies when it comes from outside plant to pole line hardware, now into electronics. And we have a group of consulting engineering support, right? We have our own solution consulting engineers who can sit down and decipher what products could be in the category to work best for a customer's solution. And we do not have a professional service organization in-house. We leverage that of the manufacturer and some third-party sources, and many of the consulting engineering firms have their own relationships that will do the professional services afterwards. So playing the role of a pure distributor, again, from the outside plant design, aerial, burial, all the hardware and such that we have in inventory, now fixed wireless, and some of the things that we're exploring, and all the active electronics. We've built our services around to help large customers with in-house engineering, or those who go to consulting engineering firms to see some options, narrow down their options, and then we help them build a bill of material for best pricing and availability.
Great. Well, that actually wraps up the questions that we've gotten so far. If you still have questions, feel free to type them in here. And even if we don't get to them here on the webinar today, we'll be able to follow up here. But with that, before I go through some FBA announcements and some other things, I just want to hand it back to Eric and Gus here. Any final words or some wrap up here as we before we sign off?
Eric, you can go first.
Thank you, Gus. No, again, thank you for the opportunity. I just, I'm excited to see, where we're going with fiber. We didn't talk about, 50 gig PON. We didn't talk about 100 gig coherent PON, but these are all things that are coming down the pipe. And again, having kind of an open architecture, having routing capabilities, that can easily be repurposed into a 50 gig PON or 100 gig PON. The future is bright. Of course, coherent optics, that kind of appeals to me as an optical engineer. And so, having DSPs and such. So it's just a lot of innovation in industry right now. I always say, follow the optics, that's the greatest thing with fiber infrastructure. So again, I thank you for your time today, and it's been very helpful.
Great. And I just want to take an opportunity to thank everybody who joined, listened to this presentation. Hopefully there were some takeaways that you have from it. Please feel free to reach out to us at Power Tel. We appreciate the opportunity to serve this marketplace. We have some great customers within the Fiber Broadband Association, and we're here to serve and look forward to continuing to bring new technologies and solutions to the marketplace to ultimately serve our customers. So thank you, David, for helping us put this together, and Fiber Broadband for the opportunity to present, and hope to see you all soon.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you both. First of all, thank you to Power Tel and Radisys for bringing this great content to us, and supporting our webinars, and providing your insight and expertise to our community here. If you do want to continue the conversation with Gus or Eric here, you will have an opportunity to do so. We have a survey that will pop up right when we close out the webinar here, and one of the questions in that survey is whether you want somebody from the team to reach out to you. So if you would like to have a follow-up conversation, that's a great way to do it. And with that, I just want to thank everybody again for attending, to echo Gus and Eric, and just have a couple of quick announcements. First of all, if you happen to be up in the Toronto area next week, we are having our next Regional Fiber Connect workshop up there. Unlike the Fiber Connect show, which was referenced a little bit earlier, these shows are smaller. Obviously, they're regional. great networking events, and just a great opportunity to meet up with like-minded folks in the industry and collaborate with each other. So I encourage you, if you're in Toronto, to check that out. We've got more coming up later in the year. We'll be in Spokane, Washington in September, Scottsdale, Arizona in October, and finally rounding out the year in Kansas City, Missouri in November. So please do, if you're available for those, we'd love to see you at those in-person events. And with that, I also want to just mention once again, we have our Fiber Optic Path program. This is our program to train and bring up the next generation here of future fiber technicians to help with all this fiber deployment that we're facing right now. So if you're interested in supporting that program or want to learn more about it, follow that QR code. There's also a link in the resources. And speaking of the resources, be sure to grab the extra information there from Radisys and Power Tel that are there in the resources for you. Those links will also be included in the follow-up email. And finally, we have a lot more webinars coming up. So go out to our website, check out things under the events tab, under the webinars option, and you can find a list of what's around the corner here. Also, just want to remind you about Fiber for Breakfast, which is our weekly webinar featuring Gary Bolton, our CEO and president, with different industry luminaries every week to discuss trends and other topics. So definitely check out Fiber for Breakfast. That's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we look forward to seeing everybody on that. And with that, thank you again for attending. We look forward to seeing everyone on the next one. Bye.
Yeah. Take care.